Let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to untangle the absolutely fascinating and honestly critical world of medical ethics. At the very heart of healthcare is this incredibly delicate balance, the doctor-patient relationship. It's a dynamic built entirely on a foundation of implicit trust. We literally put our lives in the hands of medical professionals, believing for sure that they've got our best interests at heart. But what actually happens when those lines blur? What are the rules that govern this relationship? And, how are those rules enforced when things go terribly wrong? Let's find out.
It's a pretty provocative question to start us off, right? What happens when the people we trust with our lives cross the line? Like, what actually separates an honest clinical mistake from a deliberate, downright disgraceful violation of that trust? Medicine is incredibly complex, and the consequences of errors can literally be life-altering. So today, we're going to break down the strict ethical codes, the legal definitions of negligence, and those extreme cases of misconduct that challenge the very integrity of the whole medical profession.
To answer all of that, we'll use a simple escalation framework, covering 1. The foundation of professionalism, 2. Navigating medical professional boundaries, 3. The social media minefield, 4. Medical negligence and malpractice, and 5. Understanding serious professional misconduct.
Section 1. The foundation of professionalism.
The absolute core of this profession is captured perfectly by the World Medical Association's code. This duty of care places the patient's best interests above literally everything else. A doctor's primary obligation isn't to a hospital's bottom line or to their own career advancement. No, it's directly to the health and well-being of the individuals sitting on the exam table.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is that this duty of care isn't just some nice moral suggestion. It's a binding legal and ethical obligation to act competently. The British Medical Association makes it crystal clear. Professionals have to act within their abilities. You don't try to provide care beyond your level of competence unless it's an absolute life-or-death emergency. It is the bedrock of all medical practice.
Section 2. Navigating medical professional boundaries.
But what happens when the lines of this highly trusted relationship start to blur? Well, there's an inherent power imbalance between doctor and patient. The General Medical Council explicitly states that because doctors have access to your most sensitive personal data, and because patients are often in a super vulnerable position, the relationship is fundamentally unequal. Because of this, any personal, and especially any sexual relationship with a current patient is strictly prohibited. It's always viewed as an abuse of that vulnerability, even if it just started casually in a social setting.
And hey, this requirement for neutrality, it extends to financial boundaries too. Doctors have to proactively spot and manage conflicts of interest. For example, they absolutely cannot accept inappropriate gifts or incentives that might secretly influence the treatments they prescribe. Actually, get this. If a doctor finds out a patient left them money in their will, they generally can't even accept that bequest directly. Why? Because it completely compromises that objective professional distance you need to practice medicine ethically.
Section 3. The social media minefield. Let's look at some modern challenges where traditional ethics crash headfirst into 21st century habits. Imagine scrolling your feed and seeing this caption, posted by a doctor. Joyride plus shots equals don't drink and drive. Okay, now imagine it was posted right next to a pelvic angiogram of a patient who later died. Seriously, this is a real, shocking case study from our sources, involving an interventional radiologist. It crossed a massive ethical line. The doctor basically used a human tragedy as a notch in his belt for social media clout, totally disregarding the sanctity of that patient's experience.
This brings up a really critical tension. Sure, sharing a unique case too soon clearly violates patient privacy, because the patient could easily be identified. But there's a deeper, more insidious issue here. Reducing a tragic event to a punchline using what clinicians call gallows humor severely undermines patient dignity. Coping with the macabre is one thing behind closed doors with your colleagues to blow off steam, but blasting it out in the public light of social media, that degrades the patient and completely shatters public trust in healthcare as a whole.
Section 4. Medical negligence and malpractice.
Now we're escalating our framework from blurred boundaries and social media missteps right into actual physical failures in care and the legal consequences that follow. When clinical duty breaks down, we encounter medical negligence. This usually happens in one of two ways. You have an act of commission, which means actually taking the wrong action, like say operating on the wrong limb, or an act of omission, which is failing to take the right action, like forgetting to advise a patient on crucial lab tests. Both represent a serious absence of reasonable care.
Now, to legally prove a medical professional was negligent, all four of these specific Ds must be present at the exact same time. First, duty. There has to be an established professional relationship. Second, dereliction, a direct breach of that baseline standard of care. Third, direct causation, meaning that specific failure directly led to the bad outcome. And fourth, damage. There has to be actual compensable harm suffered by the patient. If even one of these Ds is missing, the legal case for negligence just falls apart. Depending on who is at fault and just how severe the harm is, that negligence falls into one of 5 precise categories, the 5 Cs. Civil negligence might be skipping a ward visit, causing minor harm that gets settled with money. Criminal negligence is way darker. We're talking gross, reckless actions causing severe harm or death, like leaving surgical tools inside someone. Corporate negligence puts the blame on the hospital itself for hiring incompetent staff. Contributory negligence means the patient actually played a role in their own injury, maybe by ignoring strict instructions. And finally, composite is when multiple parties share the blame together.
I want to clarify a really big contrast here between two terms people mix up all the time: negligence and malpractice. While negligence is generally an unintentional absence of care or just an honest mistake in skill, malpractice is a much broader, often more intentional failure to meet professional duties. Malpractice means behaving completely outside the bounds of what's considered acceptable, and it can warrant severe disciplinary action, even permanent erasure from the medical register. It goes way, way beyond a simple civil lawsuit.
Section 5. Understanding serious professional misconduct.
Finally, we reach the absolute highest end of our escalation framework. These are deliberate, egregious violations that destroy careers and completely shatter the foundation of trust. Back in 1894, Lord Justice Lopes defined this level of behavior as infamous conduct in a professional respect. It means a doctor has done something so disgraceful, so dishonorable, that their own professional peers would be totally appalled. We aren't talking about a mistake here. It's behavior that actively degrades the reputation of the entire medical profession.
Our sources give us this really handy, punchy mnemonic to remember these offenses, the 6 A's of malpraxis. These are explicit behaviors that trigger severe disciplinary action. Association means working with or covering for unqualified people. Advertisement is unethical self-promotion. Alcohol and addiction refer to being intoxicated on duty or misusing drugs. Adultery covers those improper relationships with patients we talked about earlier. And abortion refers specifically to conducting illegal or unjustified procedures. Committing these acts often results in what's known as a professional death sentence, being permanently erased from the medical register.
But you know, misconduct isn't always about those big, obvious crimes in the 6 A's. Even something as fundamental as a breach of professional confidence can escalate into a charge of serious professional misconduct. If a doctor voluntarily blabs a patient's secrets to a third party without their consent, they are deliberately abusing the privileged access they were granted. It proves that violating trust is punished just as severely as a physical surgical error.
We've covered the entire spectrum of medical ethics in this explainer today, from the sacred duty of care right through the complexities of negligence, all the way up to infamous conduct. But I want to leave you with this really provocative thought. As our world rapidly evolves with social media, artificial intelligence, and shifting social boundaries, how is that delicate equation of trust between doctor and patient going to change? Are the rules going to adapt fast enough to protect us? It's definitely something to chew on the next time you step into a doctor's office. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.